My name is Água Akhabl of the Pinheiro Nation clan. I'm a natural living man and native sovereign citizen of the Kingdom of Pineal. The Kingdom of Pineal is an autonomous sovereign nation of peoples whom have chosen to live together in trust under the cultural laws and spiritual tenets of our shared common principles and beliefs. The Pinheiro Nation clan is the Kingdom of Pineal's first family. The Pinheiros of Pineal are the pioneering royal family that founded and continues to co-create the new Earth Nation Kingdom that is Pineal. The Kingdom of Pineal is not yet an officially recognized international territory. We are currently an autonomous community nation. Our current status is a nation of peoples in embassy occupying a plot of sovereign trust land in the country of Portugal. Yes, but to give context to that answer, we must first understand what the word cult actually means. To most people, when they hear the word cult, they immediately envision a picture in their minds of something dark and nefarious. Mind-controlled people following an evil overlord guru who is leading them to a mass hysteric death. This picture was planted into your mind by the cult of magicians of Hollywood. And there is good reason for this. Ironically, most people don't know that they themselves are part of a cult, the global cult of Western culture. If you buy clothes, food and merchandise from the same establishments as everyone else you know, you are in a cult. If you have a TV, radio, smartphone, computer, and you watch, listen, or share the same information as everyone else you know, you are in a cult. Sports teams harness cult followings. Musicians have cult followings. Netflix has a cult following. YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram are all cult platforms. The word cult is actually derived from the word culture. Culture is simply habitual or repetitive habits and behaviors of a collective of people. A culture becomes a cult when the culture of a collective is consciously observed and adhered to. So, in this sense, Pineal is a cult, as we are consciously creating and observing our own cultural system of living. Furthermore, what separates the Kingdom of Pineal from the global cult is that we challenge the status quo of the current global cult by initiating our own unique individual cult status quo. We have chosen to break free from the collective Babylonian matrix cult and instead create our own unique individual cult that is in alignment with our core beliefs and ideals. From our dress code, how and what we eat, our cultural habits, ideals, and principles, all of these are cult practices we have created and chosen to follow. Whilst we are a kingdom, we do not adopt the autocratic system of societal rulership. As a sovereign nation that practices sovereign principles of living, all women, men, children, and animals living in trust of the Kingdom of Pineal are free to govern and rule themselves individually and or collectively, as long as they are doing so within the boundaries of Pineal's cultural beliefs and spiritual tenets. In order for our cultural beliefs and spiritual tenets to be upheld, it is imperative that we have structure and organization which helps to maintain social cohesion for the greater good of all. After all, there can be no happiness without order, no order without authority, no authority without unity, and culture is unity. The Kingdom of Pineal's culture is built on the foundation of 3 core principles of law: 12 universal laws, 11 natural laws, and 10 pineal tenets. These pineal laws and tenets are further enhanced by Pineal's cultural laws, which consist of all our societal habits, customs, and behaviors. These include what we eat, how we dress, how we speak, where and how we live, our ways of expression, our customs, rituals, and spiritual practices. In essence, the Kingdom of Pineal's culture is based on the celebration and enhancement of all organic life on this earth in the spirit of all that is natural and godly. Every citizen of the Kingdom of Pineal is considered an heir, queen, or king. Every citizen is an equal trustee, an ambassador of everything the kingdom represents. This means every citizen holds an equal measure of responsibility and ownership for the kingdom at large. However, like any successfully functioning society or nation, there are different societal departments that require varying degrees of skill or knowledge. We call these trust pillars of our society. The Kingdom of Pineal has 8 main trust pillars of organization. These are Earth Care Trust, which includes the welfare of animals and nature. Home Care Trust. This includes all matters of pineal housing and infrastructure. Civil Service Trust. This department oversees all Kingdom of Pineal's administration affairs. Social Zen Trust. This involves all community, health, and well-being matters. Future Care Trust. Future Care Trust includes all Kingdom of Pineal education, information, and technology departments. Culture Trust. Culture Trust oversees Pineal's customs, laws, and various art departments. Trade Trust. This is the trade, finance, and commercial arm of the Kingdom of Pineal. And finally, Ambassadors Trust. This includes all branches of councillors, elders, and community representatives of the Kingdom of Pineal. Each of these pillars has its own structure of visionaries, planners, organizers, managers, and ambassadors. These are what we call pillar authorities or authors of our society. Pillar authors do not rule or govern the nation, but rather they serve as instruments to help propel the collective will of the people, which in turn maintains cultural order, unity, and ultimately happiness. Yes, like any other cultured society, it is imperative that the homogeny of our society remains culturally intact in order for us to continue to healthily grow and ultimately thrive. For this reason, we have a strict and stringent process of initiation into our culture. It is important that all who wish to become a part of our society are fundamentally in alignment with our core principles and ethos. As a nation that prides itself on the values of trust, respect, and honor, all our nation's citizens must pledge all their trust in the greater good of all that the Kingdom of Pineal represents. The greater good of the we must always supersede all other principles. This type of mindset is counterintuitive to the present mindset most other cultures and societies follow today. Most of us have been cultured into religious, political, educational, and social systems that promote individualism over collectivism. Most of humanity measures success through self-gain, which promotes competition and ultimately leads to moral decay. The Kingdom of Pineal challenges this programmed system of scarcity and self-survival. As a progressive society, we strive towards a system of thriving through collective abundance, just like our ancestors used to do. Such a mindset requires a certain level of detachment, both mentally and physically. This level of detachment can only be achieved through a process of spiritual self-initiation. One must first lose the world before they can find themselves. The Kingdom of Pineal's process of initiation into our culture is centered on the premise of identifying and integrating those who have or are at the very least going through this process of complete detachment from the Babylonian me program to the future we program. All for one and one for all. No, it does not mean you have to give everything up. It means you must be ready to detach and or share whatever surplus possessions you have acquired with the community or society of people you are choosing to live in trust with. This level of detachment requires a huge amount of trust, as such a decision is often a permanent or lifelong commitment. This is why our initiation process is so stringent. Part of the pineal initiation involves a self-evaluation process, mentally, emotionally, and physically. By the time one is ready to join the kingdom of pineal, they should know what they are willing to detach from, what they need to keep for themselves in order to live comfortably, and what they are able to integrate and share with the collective society or community they are joining. Absolutely. In fact, we would argue that it is impossible that you have nothing valuable to contribute. This is because the kingdom of pineal does not measure wealth through material possession alone. We measure wealth on the spectrum of knowledge, skills, spiritual and physical commitment, willpower, as well as material contribution. Spiritual commitment to the tenets of pineal is an absolute must. Willpower to mentally and emotionally detach from the Babylonian matrix system and integrate into the kingdom of pineal system is also a must. And as long as you can adequately and applicably contribute some kind of knowledge or skills that will benefit your community and the kingdom, you are wealthy beyond measure. Any material wealth that you may contribute to help the kingdom further develop is always welcomed and appreciated, but not an ultimate requirement. As a collective of people coming together to co-create a new culture, society, and reality, it is important that all involved are in cohesion. Whilst we celebrate individualism and free thinking, it would be wise for us to also observe rational, common unity, ideals, and principles. This common perspective of coexistence is what we call culture. And so, those who wish to become a member of the pineal culture must fully understand and resonate with our core principles, ideals, philosophies, and practices. Having said that, we also embrace free thinking and new ideas that challenge our current perspectives in a healthy and constructive way. Well, the world is clearly undergoing a great shift or transition from one paradigm into another. Some might call this a great reset, others call it the Great Awakening, some say it's the apocalypse. As far as we are concerned here at Pineal, all of the above are valid. The world as we know it is changing, and it's changing fast. These changes can be seen as positive or negative, depending on your ideals, beliefs, and perspectives on reality. At the Kingdom of Pineal, we view these current changes as a positive outcome and a great opportunity for those who wish to break free from the paradigms that no longer serve them and start creating new paradigms that are in alignment with their ideals, beliefs, and needs. The Kingdom of Pineal is one such organization doing exactly that. We are actively co-creating a new paradigm of reality for ourselves that best serves us both physically and spiritually, individually and as a collective. Well, I, like many, used to have the view that there are plots against humanity by hidden forces in high places, which is the perspective held by many people, which is kind of true. However, as I worked my way up through my own self-initiations of awakening, my view began to change significantly. The further up the ladder of illumination I ascended, the more I came to understand that the purveyors of the dark tower and the keepers of the lighthouse, so to speak, are both in service to the natural and universal order of all that is, the yin and yang of light and dark, the checkerboard of superheroes and arch-villains. The wheel of life forever turns without objective prejudice. To assume any different would be a denial of divine intelligence. As far as I'm concerned, divine intelligence, or what some might call source creator or God, encompasses the full spectrum of light and dark. It is the Alpha and Omega. One can only find heaven and God within, once they have conquered the evil within themselves and also outside of themselves. It is my belief that people must be challenged to an extreme in order to grow spiritually, and there must be those who serve as instruments for that to be carried out on earth. Each person and the whole world together must descend into the depths of the hell experience on earth in order to rise through the gates of their heaven. This is what is known as redemption through sin. It's nothing personal, and to take it as such is to play the victim, lost in the drama of it all. Once one has conquered and mastered the dragon of evil that lives within, they begin to transmute the shadowed villain of self, and thus the ashes of the phoenix of peace begins to rise. The most efficient way to rise this phoenix of peace to the outer world is to find peace within your own inner world. This balance can be found by no longer participating in the conflict, and it's from there that we rise. This means speaking and acting from our center and not being caught on either side, but embracing the whole scheme as a reflection of self. By individually accepting the collective responsibility, you become the hero of your story, and the plot no longer becomes a mystery. You become Thor, the author and director of the script you choose to play. Here, and only here, can you finally meet God and set ourselves free. We have already succeeded. By virtue of daring to dream and actively initiating our dreams into a living reality, we have set the wheels of time in motion, the butterfly effect, so to speak. By casting our dream reality out into the world, our spells, signs, and symbols are forever etched into the fabric of time. And so, it is only a matter of time itself before the dream that is the Kingdom of Pineal fully materializes into the collective reality. The first and most important action we have and are taking is actively detaching from the trappings of the world that no longer serves us. We are culturing new processes and habits that enable self-reliance, sustainability, and regeneration. This process of transition requires a great deal of commitment and resilience, which comes with an initial sacrifice of discomfort and disturbance mentally, emotionally, and physically. This transitional discomfort is what we call healing. Such healing is practiced through many different forms and mediums like shadow work, meditation, fasting, music, yoga, dancing, and various other martial arts that encourage self-reflection. Perhaps the biggest challenge has been the integration of the healing process I have just spoken about within an intimate collective group of people. Starting a new company, organization, or community always seems romantic and idealistic in theory, but the reality of actively living such enterprises is often daunting and difficult to say the least. This is amplified when you consider that we have started a new community, society, and nation family of people from the ground up. Furthermore, we are doing this in the midst of all the social, economic, and political chaos currently unfolding. The complexity of this mission cannot be understated. Detaching, grounding, healing, realigning, co-creating, and finding common unity within an intimate collective of diverse people is not for the faint-hearted. It requires extreme and consistent dedication, commitment, patience, sacrifice from everyone involved. As a result of such intimate correspondence, everyone within the community becomes a mirror that forces you to self-reflect and face your shadow selves. This is the hero's journey, and one of the most difficult feats every person must eventually face one way or another. The more consistently you face and overcome your shadow selves, the closer you get to finding and knowing the true nature of your inner self. Pineal Community has and still continues to be a great mirror and teacher for those ready to accelerate their growth. Well, it's simple. Our long-term goals are to fully establish resilient, self-sustainable and regenerative living and cultural practices, applicable spiritually and physically. Pineal's short-term goals are to establish a fully recognized and homogenized sovereign nation-state of autonomous peoples of the earth. My biggest personal challenge has been being misunderstood. As a visionary, with a clear mission of what I am here on earth to do, such conscious conviction comes with a heavy burden of responsibility. Quite often, I have made decisions and taken actions of goodwill, from my perspective, which were not always well received, or worse yet, misunderstood as something negative or even harmful by some. This disconnect has sometimes been an emotional roller coaster of highs and lows between those who get me and those who don't, particularly within the Pineal community. What I have learnt from this experience is to be more mindful of what I share, when I share it, and who I share it with, as not everyone is equipped or capable of processing and digesting certain information. I've learnt that great knowledge comes with great responsibility. I am learning to be more responsible with what I know and what I do with what I know. My personal biggest fear is not living up to my greatest potential. When my time to move on finally embraces me, I want to face my transition with no regrets. I want to be able to look myself in the eyes and confidently say, I lived my best life to the best of my ability. I shared, lived, cried, and loved with everything I was and everything I had. I want to look back and see that I lived my life fully committed to what I believed in without fear of failure. Samsara's birth was a monumental occasion of celebration, not just for us as parents, but for the whole pineal community. Samsara's birth really marked the beginning of a new era, as he was born 100% Samsara's birth really marked the beginning of a new era, as he was born 100% this is hard. Samsara's birth really marked the beginning of a new era, as he was born 100% completely naturally and was fully Samsara's birth really marked the beginning of a new era, as he was born 100% completely natural and was officially registered as a sovereign Kingdom of Pineal citizen, the first true sovereign being of Pineal. He entered this world completely free and sovereign in every way. He had a knowing soul and a clear mission, albeit a short one. I have no doubts his entry and exit from this world was divinely ordained for reasons beyond my human understanding. Despite this knowing, Samsara's passing away was probably one of the most painful experiences of my current life. His passing on really made me question my faith and beliefs. I found myself doubting myself, doubting the divine, doubting everything I hold sacred and true. For the first few weeks after his passing, I found myself truly in the valley of the shadow of death. I was crippled with guilt, shame, and self-pity beyond the forces of anything I have ever experienced. For a while, I thought I would never find myself again. But not long after his passing, whilst in a meditative sleep, I met him in the astral realms. Our celestial encounter reassured me that he was happy and he had completed exactly what he had come on earth to do. He also reassured me of the mission I was on earth to complete and not to lose faith. And so, here I am, continuing the journey and also looking forward to reuniting with the soul of Samsara again, in whatever future form, time, and space. You can find out more about us from our website, www.kingdom-of-pineal.org. We also have an active YouTube channel, which is under the name Pineal Foundation. Our Instagram page is @Pineal Foundation. And all our music can be found on Bandcamp and Spotify under Pinheiro Family Music. Thank you for choosing to spend your time and space with me. I trust that the information that I shared with you today was helpful and insightful in helping you better understand who and what Kingdom of Pineal is. From myself and the family here at the Kingdom of Pineal, we love and appreciate you all. Give thanks. Till next time. Goodbye for now.
Pineal, seed of life. An immeasurable paradise. I am spirit, I am matter, I am the living breath of nature. I am one with the law, I am of the land, air and water. I am natural, I am free, I am sovereign, abundant, happy. I give thanks for all that is, for I am part of all that is. As above, so below, as within, without is how you go. I am kin of the dome, kingdom of Pineal is I am home. All through creation we breathe to this nation of life. All through creation we breathe to this nation of life. The Pineal, seed of life. An immeasurable paradise. I am spirit, I am matter, I am the living breath of nature. I am one with the law, I am of the land, air and water. I am natural, I am free, I am sovereign, abundant, happy. I give thanks for all that is, for I am part of all that is. As above, so below, as within, without is how you go. I am kin of the dome, kingdom of Pineal is I am home. All through creation we breathe to this nation of life. We breathe to this nation of life. The Pineal, seed of life.